Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Alongside bears and eagles, elk and...
Give me a yes if you can hear me. All right, good. Sorry last minute, guys, but I just wanted to get it done since I didn't do it last week. And thank you guys for jumping in. We got a fair amount of people. Some that didn't make it last time, very good. So hopefully this late time works good for a lot of people. I think you guys that are like in a different, like I guess in the UK now, it's probably morning, right? Anybody in the UK? We have any early AM? I do see an early AM. You got your cup of coffee. It's 5 a.m. I have my cup of coffee. It's 11 p.m. Anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about some of the topics. What I wanted to talk about was, first with a reminder of the channel name. If any of you watched my video showing that I'm changing the name, I just want to remind everybody, it's not that I'm changing the content totally. I'm doing FEB stuff. I want to do other stuff. So a majority of stuff will remain HUBSAN content. So it's going to be simple QC guy. That's it. QC can be quality control, quadcopter, quality care. So I stick with QC. I like QC. It's always been, it started with the Facebook group, and it's been a part of it ever since. So I'm sticking with that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the banner on the top of the channel, and the name will still say HUBSAN QC. So whenever you get a notice, you'll still see HUBSAN QC Help and Support. And the only thing you're going to see different at first is the banner with the new name. And then hopefully people get used to whenever you get that alert of a new video or something like that, it's not going to throw you off. And then eventually the name will just change. So that's that. I startled you because you had the volume all the way up. Well, at least that means my microphone is much better. Since I got this mic, I haven't got any complaints about people not being able to hear me, and hopefully the camera quality seems to be good. I got a Logitech Brio. It'll shoot up to 4K, but of course I don't use 4K for this. But anyhow, let's get on to the first topic. The ZINO, there's not much to talk about there. But I just kind of wanted to throw out some predictions. And obviously, I think we're going to see an FC here coming up, guys. They failed with the last one. And I just want to remind everybody, stick with 4.6, not 4.7. It's not terrible. It did fix the issue where when it lifts, it doesn't drop anymore. I just tested it and I went back to 4.6 only because of things that I was reading. I wasn't really seeing anything all that big. So any of you guys with the ZINOs, anybody that's saying, go to the latest firmware they have on the HUBSAN website, I would stick with 4.6 just to be safe. Just because it's been out longer, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. It's it's not getting the negative reviews as badly as 4.7. So that's all I really wanted to say about the ZINO as far as the firmware goes. One big thing that, and I'm not saying pat on the back, but when this thing first was introduced, the very first thing I did is pretty much took it apart and showed everybody. And I almost instantly predicted that you're going to have a heating issue within this thing. And then it wasn't long after that, my Wi-Fi burned out. So I am going to do a venting somehow, and it should be somewhere around right here where the Wi-Fi is. It's going to need an intake and something to exhaust out. But people have said stuff about putting in small fans, and I just want to show real quick on the camera. Okay, right here's your Wi-Fi module. And then right here, you hardly have any space. So when you close this down, it's going to take a fan that's like microscopic. PC fans, I think, are too big. Even what's in Mavic, I think, is too big. I don't know about the Spark, but I don't know that a fan is really even going to be necessary. But some sort of a venting system right here that allows air intake as you're flying, and then something that'll allow exhaust out. You have two small slits here in the back that air could come out, but if you notice, they have them covered up with tape. So if you simply cut those slits out, then you'll have your exhaust. But that's one of the next things I'm going to do with this. So we'll see if that helps with the cooling. But I did predict that the Wi-Fi module, possibly processors, would burn out. And that's exactly what's happening. And I'm not going to harp on this person, but you guys know probably who I'm talking about. But he's in big denial, saying only a couple that he knows of. I don't think people are really contacting him, but I've been contacted by enough, and I repaired one. If you watch some of my other videos, I showed where I actually repaired one. Or I didn't show repairing it, but you could see it on the bench. I had 3 ZINOs sitting there. 2 of them are mine, 1 I repaired. And that's what it was for. It was for a Wi-Fi module. So I replaced mine and I replaced his. They're perfectly fine now. You have to replace the whole board at this point, not the module. They don't have any of this available. So not much more really to talk about with the ZINO. Is there anything anybody wants to know about the ZINO? Anybody want to bring anything up? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Use what to cool the intake with the intake? ALU to cool the intake? Christoph, what you talking about? Greg Trevor, contact me on that, on the logo issue. Anything anybody wants to help with graphics, I'd be very happy with that. Oh, aluminum. Yeah, I mean, you can simply, hell, throw a hood scoop on this sucker, make it look cool. Give yourself an aluminum hood scoop on there. I'm simply going to take advantage of the slits, and I'm actually going to just cut across right there, right where it says HUBSAN. I don't care if I cut into that, but I'm basically just going to fold it up and do it with heat. So once it cools, it stays, and I'll have an uplifted piece of plastic there. Then I'm going to expose these vents, and hopefully that'll work as an air intake and exhaust. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of possibilities. So yeah, Christoph, do you have one? Do you have a ZINO? Is this something you're going to try to do? Give you time to answer. Done no firmware updates. Flying Brian Hutch. I would hold off on any updates, guys. They're gonna be coming back here. I guarantee it with a firmware update. I guarantee there's gonna be one pretty soon. Um, After this Chinese holiday's over now. Um, so when you see a firmware update, don't jump on it. Just go around the groups, watch what everybody's saying, and even better yet, wait till you see videos of it actually flying. Look for stability. Um, I'm sorry, but everybody that says, "Oh, mine's flying fine," and I know you see me do this all the time in my videos, but everybody says theirs is flying fine. What's going on here is they're very happy with the video. They're blinded by the video. Hubsan did a good job on the video, and everybody's blinded by that. If this video wasn't working real good, they'd be bitching about everything else wrong with this. But your quad is not flying fine if it's dropping when you turn left and it's raising when you go left, or when you take off, it does that Hubsan drop. Of course, you've got the flyaways, which can be operator pilot error, but we're having a lot of disconnect issues, so I think it's pretty obvious. So these things are not flying fine, and that's the one thing that drives me nuts is what's going on here is you're able to fly it. I can fly it. I haven't wrecked mine. In the very beginning, when I first learned of that drop, I did exactly what Dustin did in his video, Dustin Dunhill, and right down onto the ground with mine. So no, these things, when they get the firmware update, keep an eye on them. And I still say, as far as mine goes, I highly recommend just shelving it. If you've got other quads that you can fly and enjoy, I would recommend just shelving it. And I know that kind of bugs a lot of people when I say that, but if you want to continue to keep your ZINO and wait for it to be optimal performance, I would just wait. Sent yours back to get a refund, Bill. I think I spoke to you. I think maybe you and I talked on YouTube. That's the hard thing between YouTube and Facebook and stuff. But that's your real name, so I'm pretty sure I spoke with you. Gary, when you do that fan, please share it. I really am interested in the fan idea. And that's probably an area as far as doing an upgrade, something like that. That's something where I would actually need help before I would do it, just because of to avoid like electrical noise interference, things like that. Like if you've got to put any type of electrical filter, resistor, whatever in there, I don't know. So Flying Brian, the deal with only hooking up to your phone, not being able to fly with the controller to your Android, be careful with that, because you know your range is much more reduced. But you've obviously got a Wi-Fi issue with that controller, and I think I've seen you talk about that myself. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next thing. There's really not a lot to talk about with ZINO. They've been on their New Year's holiday, and you know, right now they're kind of hiding under a rock. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of activity from them now that they're back. But I do see probably an FC. I think it's very safe to say an FC. I don't know, but I think it's very safe to say there's an FC update coming, because they know it was a failure. But let's move on to the HUBSAN official ZINO website, the deleted content. This is where, for anybody that owns a ZINO, please join that group. I'm not trying to steer you away from mine, but join the HUBSAN ZINO official HUBSAN ZINO group and express the problems that you're having with your quad. If it's just the flight control, if you've burnt out your module, if you're one of those guys, and there's plenty of you already out there, at least a handful, I can guarantee, just from talking to people who have had to send back your ZINO to HUBSAN, and You're getting no word, no reply back from them. They're not giving you any feedback, and that's because they do not have the parts. Right now, your ZINO is sitting in HUBSAN in California or in China, wherever you sent it, and it's just sitting on a shelf. I would be demanding that they replace your quad. Don't sit there and wait for a board because they don't have these parts to replace it. Any of you guys that have any issues with the ZINO whatsoever, do share it within the HUBSAN official group. I want to see also if they continue to keep deleting the content. And then plus you've got the fanboys in there who are just praising it and basically telling you everything you say, or not everything you say, but a lot of things you say that you're complaining about aren't things that you should be complaining about, or they're pilot error. Put those guys in their place nicely. And you guys know I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mr. Peter Martin for one. I can go and read almost every post in there, and he's Mr. ZINO fanboy. And put the guy in his place. Just tell him step aside, zip it up, let you have a conversation with other people, and vent what's going on, and bring attention to the problem with your ZINO. So that's all I want to say on the deleted content. I just highly recommend you guys go and join that group if you own a ZINO, or if you even want to know about it. And aside from the things that I keep you posted on, and just voice your opinions. HUBSAN should not be getting away with deleting content. So with that being said, we have the HUBSAN forum. That's been gone the whole Chinese New Year, and it's supposed to return on the 20th of this month, which is 2 days away. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to do there, if they're going to wipe it clean and you're not going to see any negative content, or if it's simply, and I kind of think that they probably just wanted to keep it under control. I don't think we're going to see it. I sound a little naive in saying this, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of deleted content. I just think that they just want to control it, as far as while they're away, it would get out of control and they wouldn't be able to monitor it. So it was probably best that they just shut it down. That's my guess. So we'll see. On the 20th, it's either going to come back and look perfectly normal, they're not going to have anything deleted, or they're going to delete a lot of content. If you find that they've deleted a lot of content, if you visit the forum often, you know that the ZINO has taken a huge hit on the forum. I mean, people really have been bashing it. If you see that kind of stuff gone, bring awareness. Just bring awareness. That's basically with this deleted content on the group and with the forum, just bring awareness. That's all I'm saying. But I'm kind of thinking it might not be wiped out. Any new updates? Let me see. Let me go up a little higher here. Few of you are sending them back, and I hate to see that, because I do want to see this thing do well and see people doing well with it. But now as I read, I'm seeing more and more sent back. And taking the advice of shelving it. I really do think that's smart. If you have other things to fly, I mean, the ZINO's not a super quad that you're missing anything. My app also came. The app's dangerous to your phone. That's got to be an Android thing. I've never seen that. Boy, Flying Brian, you're having a hell of a time, man. I'm sorry. Lawn, I'm assuming this is Lawn B. Or is it B or Bay? I think it's B. Yeah, hold off. Just wait. You're not in a hurry. Just wait for it. Any new updates on the 501SS? Very good that you asked that, because I don't know how many of you noticed that, but there are no more firmware updates right now, and that's fine. If you guys know me, I'm very fond of 1141. If you do not have the new compass, the only firmware you should be on is 1141. You can use the new compass firmware, but in my opinion, you're missing out. It's supposed to be exactly the same. They did cut some power back on that. 1141 is it's incredibly stable. Stick with it. I actually wish in some of mine that I didn't have the new compass, and was only running 1141. Not that I fly all my 501s, but I have one that has the new compass that I actually like to fly the most. And I wish I had 1141 in that, but I can't since you have the new compass. But Camilo, for any updates about the 501SS, we have this new motor surprise. It's a real cheap looking black aluminum motor that they've added to the 501SS. From what I see so far, and from talking to other people, it's coming in the same box. The box shows a picture of the gold or brass looking motor bells. Yet when you get your 501, the motors are starting to look like this right here, except a cheaper aluminum from what I hear. So good thing is, I try to stay on top of things so I can give you guys up-to-date stuff. Hopefully tomorrow I will take delivery of this new 501SS with the black motors. If I do, I'm taking it apart and I'm going to get into the motors. I'm going to see if what I suspect is true, if they've changed these motors and gone cheap. My suspicion is that they've gone cheap on the ESCs, and the 501SS and 501A have kind of turned into a 501M, which does have the cheaper motor and the cheaper ESCs, a little slower in power. So that's kind of just my prediction. I think that they're messing with something they shouldn't mess with. The 501, that many people are fans of the 501. I have my high-end stuff. I have my Mavics and things like that, but I love the 501s. I love flying those. And if they're going and downgrading it, they're just really shooting themselves in the foot. So far, that's the only update right now with the 501SS and the 501A. You're seeing this new motor, and I'm sure some of you, if any of you have a new one, you do have this new motor. If you order from Miffley Drone, you're going to probably get the new motor, because they keep a small stock. They deplete, reorder. So they're getting the newest stock first. Someone like Banggood, if they carry a whole bunch of 501s, you're going to have a better chance. If you want to get a 501 with the gold motor right now, would be a chance to hurry up and buy it, because after that, it's no more. It's only the black motor. If you go to the HUBSAN website, they do show it, preview it with that black motor, so you can go check it out if this is new news to you guys. What drone would I recommend under 600 bucks? It's got its problems, and I know ZINO had its problems too, but I'm really liking the FEB X8 right now, the X8 SE. I'm on the edge of recommending it. I have more confidence in them to fix the issues, but anything else under 600 bucks, it all depends on your options, what you want. There's several things. You have lots of options under 600 bucks. It just depends on what you want it to do. If you like the features of the hand gestures and all that, you've got the Spark. I don't know. I don't know what to recommend you there, Gary. But so far, I would just keep an eye on the FEMI X8 SE. It's got a lot of features. I'm happy with everything on it except for the things that don't work, which is, you know, the typical new stuff. And if HUBSAN ZINO would have came out with the problems that the FEMI had, that's perfectly fine. Because I think the FEMI is much further coming out of the gate than the ZINO. And they haven't done anything with the ZINO. It's been since November, and we're just getting camera updates. Nothing has changed in the flight control whatsoever. That should be telling you guys something right there. Then we have to rely on them keeping the app running, because if you've had a 501A for a couple of years, you know how bad that app can get to where you cannot fly your 501A, at least safely. Completely affects the quad. Yeah, the FEMI X8, the thing with the video, I'm not concerned about that jello, and I haven't played with it yet. Like, I haven't even tried to balance a prop. I don't think it's the props. Where's my FEMI? It's over there on the floor. If you go to my video where I showed up close, I showed the gimbal. It's got brackets on the gimbal. That gimbal is very stiff. It does not have a lot of movement at all. Like, you know, your typical gimbal, I mean, you can wiggle the quad and it shakes like that. Well, that's what you want. You want it to be able to absorb. But as soon as you start putting brackets on it with shock absorbers on the side, it stiffens it up. It's not absorbing that shock. That's what I think is wrong with the F8 or the X8. So look at the video where I show it up close when I do my little review or whatever of the FEMI X8. And you'll see these aluminum brackets with shock absorbers on the side, and then your top hanging shock absorbers that you typically have with your Mavics and everything else. I think that's where the gel is coming from. That's just my guess, but I haven't gone further into it. Like, I actually want to unhook those and see if the servos will operate properly with those unhooked, and see if that jello goes away. But that's nothing I'm really concerned about. I think that's something that will get fixed. And I'm sorry if I'm forgetting, if I'm skipping over anybody. Range is misleading, Christoph. I agree there. It's kind of, you're seeing it all over the place. I've got 600 meters, and that's as far as I've tried. That's not as far as I could go, but I have got 600 meters, and I've only got 6 flights on the FEMI. Lana, I got your name right. Okay, thank you. Mine is rectangly heading back due to unique gimbal issue. Greg, your gimbal issue, you had the shake, didn't you? Didn't you have like the gimbal shake, or it was just wanting to point down? See, this is where I really feel bad for you guys that are having to send them back, because I don't think they can fix them without replacement. I don't think HUBSAN can tune the gimbal, the servos, or anything. Hiccups. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I remember your story now. But this is where I feel sorry for you guys. So anybody's got a Wi-Fi issue, or you got your camera issue, I really feel sorry for you, because I think you're going to have your ZINO at HUBSAN for a long time. I would be demanding that they send you a new quad. If they don't have the parts to fix it, send you a new quad. I would be messaging, emailing them, hitting them on Twitter, hitting them in their Facebook groups on a daily basis. They're just going to want to shut you up. So you have a good chance of getting a new one. Yeah, Greg, I remember yours now. I totally remember yours. Yeah, Brian, I think yours is totally just an app compatibility issue because you're having a good bit of issues. So I don't know if it's actual controller or your device. I think it's something with maybe with your device. I don't know if you have a real new device or old device or what, but have you tried iPhones or anything? Anybody else's iPhones and tried with yours? I replaced the brokenness of the squad. I had new one firmware. I'd like to go back to the old super standard firmware. Is it possible? Camilo, if you have updated firmware before, it is very easy after you've done it. So if you want to go back to the super stable 1141, yes, you can. I recommend you do the whole package. And a lot of people really kind of got misunderstood, this latest new update on the SS. It's not strictly for the new compass. And once people learn that, they update it to it. If you don't have the new compass, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. I can't stress that enough. And let's go on to the next thing, what I want to talk about. Is everybody registered with the FAA? Because as you know, I'm sure everybody has seen the new regulations that are coming the 25th of this month. And of course, I don't have anything on the ZINO, but the new law is when you register with the FAA, you're only going to register one time, and you're going to get a card, and it'll have your registration number on it, your personal identification number. That has to go on the outside of every quad you own. So if you have 7 quads, all 7 of those quads have to have the exact same registration number on them. I think they're also saying that I should have read it more before I did the video, but I think they're also saying that they would like your personal information on there as well. I don't know if that's mandatory, but if you're going to have your registration number on there, you're going to be identifiable. So to Joe Schmo that just finds your quad, if it flies away and lands in their backyard, or if you do damage to their property, I would have your name and phone number on there as well. We've seen enough cases where there's been good Samaritans that have just said, "Oh, I found your quad," and you had your phone number on it. They called the person and gave it back. So aside from putting that on the outside, also put your phone number on there anyhow. Some people put reward and offer $20 or whatever if somebody returns theirs. But the funny thing I find about this, and this is for all quads that are over 0.55 pounds, whatever that conversion is for you guys in Europe, I'm not sure, but at least here in the US, this is the law for 0.55 pounds, and for us to put the registration on the outside. But the reasoning is to eliminate risk of explosives internally. So I haven't seen any instances yet where they have explosives in them, but people were putting them in the battery bays or on the batteries, and if they have to remove the battery, they're worried about an explosion because people making explosives. I think that's a little kind of far-fetched and a little sketchy on the government's part. I think it's just more of a way to identify people when you're out flying it and you're at that airport. If you're one of those guys that were flying over top of the airports and they can get a good visual on your quad, they can see your number and they can identify you. I think it's more to do with that, or if you do property damage. So that's just my 2 cents on it. That's pretty much it. Those are the only things I wanted to go over. Where are you at, Brian Hutch? It's 250 grams. Over 250 grams. In Canada, we have to register by June 1st. Yeah. Got a good bit of Canadians. I like that. I've not yet a Canadian yet that I don't like. I like all my Canadian friends. If you guys know Renee, he's been in my group almost since day one. He's from Canada, and he's always been a very good friend. And he's always very helpful in the groups too. Oh, you're in Ohio. Okay, so you were just giving me the conversion. It's 0.55 or 250 grams. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Nothing really big here. I just wanted to go over just these few little things just to kind of stick with my weekly update and try to do a live one. So I wasn't expecting a big turnout just because I just kind of popped it in there and didn't really plan it, but I do appreciate everybody that did show up, and it's a very successful live when there's no trolls and everybody's being respectful. I appreciate that. And do not forget the name change. After this video, I'm going to change the banner. And who was it? Was it Greg? Who was it that said about helping out with a logo? I'm scrolling up and looking. I'll throw it out there. Anybody that does graphic design, I used to be in the printing industry for years. I grew up in a print shop. We had a family-owned printing company. It was a very large printing company. I got into graphic design and stuff like that. But with today's software and stuff, I'm way out of the loop. I have Photoshop elements or Adobe elements and different editing stuff. But anybody that's in graphic arts that can do, some really cool graphics or logos or animation type things for like video openers, things like that, hit me up, message. Any help you can give, I would greatly appreciate it. And if there's anything I can do for you in return, I will. Go over just a couple last ones, and then I'm going to be ending this. Thanks, Greg. Click the like, everybody. And I think I kept the likes open, or the thumbs up and thumbs down. I think I've kept them open this time. I forgot who it was before that was not giving me a hard time, but wanting me to expose my likes and dislikes. And what I notice is my typical video, I get 60 to 100 likes and 0 dislikes. But when I show my likes and dislikes, all of a sudden I start seeing the thumbs down. Somebody's having a party throwing a bunch of thumbs down at me. It doesn't really bother me, but of course everybody likes to see the thumbs ups. So hit that little thumbs up button, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end it on just to let you know what's coming. I am going to work on a vent system. If you recall, I changed out the board. I showed how to do a camera change on this. This is the one for the modded battery. So I am going to start doing some flight tests with this one for the with the LiPo battery that I chose, and compare it with the stock battery of the ZINO. So you guys in other countries that can't get the ZINO battery and you're stuck with a LiPo, you'll at least be able to see what I've done as a mod works or doesn't work. I know it works, but we want to see how it does. If all the electronics, the flights, everything responds well to it, and you get the good flight time. So that's one thing that's going to be coming up eventually. More stuff with the FEME will be coming up. And I know everybody wants to see flight comparisons between this and the FEME. It's not that I can't. I can fly pretty much anything you put in front of me. I'm not saying I can fly good. Some things I fly pretty bad, like the racers. I'm just the worst pilot when it comes to racers. But any other quad you give me, I can fly it. I can fly it quite well. But I hate doing flight videos. And if you look at all my stuff, that's just not my thing. My thing is to take it apart, show you how to fix it, show you the insides. I like to do the how-to. I like to do the mods. I like to do the things that people are going to continue to come back to when they have a problem that will help you. Me showing a flight video, it really doesn't show anything. And when I do any type of flight comparison, if I do one between this and the FEME, or if I am, once they fix some problems and I videotape that or record that, it's not going to be from this camera. I'm going to actually make it so you can see the quad, see how it's handling. That's the proper way to do a flight review of a quad, which a lot of people do, but a lot of people just do them from the actual camera on the quad, and you really don't see the problems there. So like with the ZINO, it looks like the ZINO's flying like this, but really your camera's out of angle. Some of them, people are saying, aren't flying perfectly straight. Mine flies pretty straight. It's just more that the camera's off angle. So it looks like I'm doing a crab flight. But that's one thing I'm doing. And then, like I said, I'm getting a new H501SS with the black motors tomorrow. Hopefully it will be one with the black motors. I won't know till I open the box. But once I do, I'm going to expose that. And we're going to hopefully get some answers from HUBSAN on that. Honest answers, I do not know. So that's it. That's pretty much all that's coming up in the very kind of near future. I want to remind everybody, we're not out to bash. We're just out to bring awareness. Make sure people know what problems you're having with your ZINO. Make it known in the HUBSAN official group. Make it known in the forum. And these guys that are just instantly shutting it down because theirs are flying perfect, which they are not. Nobody is exempt to the problems of the flight control. They're just able to fly it. Just bring awareness. That's the whole purpose for me having a channel and having a group. It's bringing awareness and helping people. And that's part of the way you do that. So that's it, guys. I'm going to shut this down. And once more, just thank everybody for coming last minute. And hopefully next week we'll actually have something more to talk about. And the weekly updates don't always have to be the ZINO. They can be whatever's going on. HUBSAN gives us lots to talk about. So there's always something good to talk about. So now that they're back and doing the things that they're doing, there's always something to talk about. Or we can just do a live weekly update and just leave it an open topic, and whatever you guys throw up on the side for me to read, those will be the things we'll talk about. So that's it. So just looking over real quick. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, anybody with the graphics or anything like that, shoot me a private message. And if you have any good ideas or any samples that you can just whip up and send my way, I would really appreciate it. You know, my HUBSAN QC one, not the banner logo, but the video in there that shows the Facebook group of the HUBSAN QC help and support with the different quads and stuff. A previous member actually did that one. He did that. I did not do that. And I was very happy with that. And that was nice of him to do. So anybody can help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. And that's it. So good night, everybody. Good morning to all you other guys that are elsewhere and having your cup of coffee. And I'll talk to you in the group, and we'll see you in the next live video. Take care. Bye.